Chris, a couple episodes ago, you mentioned that you could hear the mouse clicking, and now every time I open an episode, that's all I can hear is the mouse clicking. I'm so self-conscious. Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. This is my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek, who objectively pointed out the mouse clicking noise. But now it's ruining my life. I can't hear anything else. It's all right. With all the money that we've made from this podcast, I'll go buy a new silent mouse, and there's a lot of jokes in there. Anyways, welcome to the finale of Book 2 Earth from Avatar: The Last Airbender. That means we're on episode 40 overall, episode 20 of this season. It is called The Crossroads of Destiny. It is a stellar finale, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But before we jump in the episode, as always, Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I think I mentioned before that I'm expressing my artistic side a lot more lately. Been working on this Static Mosaic. Mentioned last week that I'm gonna be meeting voice actor of Static, Phil Lamar. I've been working really hard on this. Like, I've hit a point in my life where I can get by with like 5 hours of sleep and not be tired at any point in the day. So kudos to my body. It's just like
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds terrible. So all right, let me put it out front is that I can't sleep in. I'm one of those people that I can't sleep past 8 hours like ever. If I do, my wife gets worried. She'll wake me up. She'll be like, "Are you dying?" But on the other hand, I cannot sleep less than like 7 hours. Like there's a very finite range I gotta hit every single night. But I'm also
the funny thing
I'm a
is
child.
like during the work week, I can easily stay up till 1 o'clock. I don't even think about it. Like I'm just like, all right, I'm just working on it. Because once I start working at about 9:30 on it, I'm pretty much glued to it. Also gluing stuff on it because I'm doing a mosaic glass
Heyo,
piece.
that's a soccer joke right there.
And then I don't realize until like, oh, it's 12:50. I need to go to bed at 1. Also, because my wife has a curfew for me, so I don't wake her up in the middle of the night. I have to be in bed by 1 if I want to be in bed, or I would sleep on a couch.
That's amazing. My wife would wake up like my wife's a very heavy sleeper, so there will be no curfews for me. But I also don't need. It would be the opposite. I would be the one setting the curfew, I think, in my house.
But that's really late on that. And usually this glass I cut. It's like if you can get it from Hobby Lobby. If you like cut it first, you gotta like score it with this like wheel thingy, and you have this wrench that clamps on it, and then it breaks the glass. And even if you touch that broken side, it's not sharp at all. But you could like cut it into something sharp, depending on how you cut it. And I was trying to take a piece off because I didn't like how it looked. It was too dark, and I still think it might be too dark. You know, when I was taking it off, like I got up just a little bit, and then I tried to like pry it off with my finger, and then it just went through my finger.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that I hope that was a learning experience. I'm not gonna say you're an idiot. I hope you learned something from that. But I also hope that I can kind of picture that you score. It's like with a little rotary tool kind of thing, isn't it? Like a little sort of circular, or is it just like a small utility knife?
Well, it's like imagine like a pin, but there's like a small little metal saw on the end that can roll.
Yeah,
like
and so it is a little
blade.
rotary thing. It's kind of jagged. Like I can picture what you're talking about. But I also just envision you like pretending to be like Catwoman, like cutting a hole in the window to break into the building.
That's completely what it reminds me of, because I can cut it into like shapes.
So you can just like pop a circle out and just That's exactly what I thought of as soon as he said it. I was like, that's Catwoman. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, let's stop cutting yourself on stuff. But good luck with your project. Yeah. If you ever feel like showing it on the show, I know that your window is really tiny. Just snap a picture and send it to me, and we'll get it in the PowerPoint. So it's like do it more justice. It doesn't have to be confined to such a small window.
It's taken a long time. I've committed like at least 50 hours so far to it. Which is probably why I'm yawning. Sorry.
It could also be that it's super late right now. It could be either way.
And like compared to the other art projects I've done, like they took like maybe 15 or 20 hours, and those look great. I love those. But this is like so much different. But I love doing it. It's really like fun. It's really like therapeutic. But yeah, that's been good. Besides me cutting myself. But,
That's not therapeutic, but it is
uh,
motivating and educating. It's funny. You said you're yawning. It is. First of all, it is. It's already 12:10. It's already past my bedtime, but it's Friday. It's fine. I can say for a fact that when we're done here, while I'm posting the videos and kind of putting together the text and stuff, I'm definitely gonna go eat another burrito. I don't know what it is. Like a mogwai. It's after midnight and I'm starving. It.
I like cereal around this time.
I normally would go for cereal, but earlier we don't cook in our house. But earlier we made just like chicken and then sort of a mixture of rice and corn and like corn salsa, and it was really good. And I'm so proud that I don't even know if it's good. I'm just really proud and biased. So I'm definitely gonna eat a 12 whatever burrito when we're done with this. It's gonna be magnificent, and that's kind of where I'm at in my life right now. Where midnight burritos are very exciting. I'm glad to hear your art project's going well. For real, next week, snap a picture. We'll get an update. Unless you just want to wait for like a big reveal at the end. I also understand that from an artistic perspective. And I don't know if there is a whole lot of other news necessarily to give, but I also know that we will probably spend a fair amount of time talking about this episode, which
The
packs a
new
whole lot of.
cast has been announced by the time this is up. No, I'm kidding.
If something like that happens, I promise that we will post an intervening something to address
I
that
don't think so.
directly. But what Chris is saying is a beautiful segue into the fact that we have done this format show format change that we're going to test. Again, this will be we'll post this week's as the third one in a row for weekly, and then we'll kind of do a real quick evaluation in between seasons to see if we think it's working better or worse. And speaking of between seasons, I mentioned last time we'll do like a top bottom 5 or 10 episodes from the previous season. We'll watch the movie at some point. I'll go to Chris's house, and I haven't figured out how to do it yet, but maybe I don't know. Maybe we can play like the audio of the movie softly in the background, and then record our speech during, and we could stream that, and then for YouTube though, we would probably edit it down just to anything pivotal, or just do a review in hindsight or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how far I want to take it. Nobody watches my
Yeah.
streams anyway, so I don't know if it's even worth that. But long story short, I'm gonna watch the stupid movie, and it's gonna whatever. I'm sure it won't be that bad because
No.
anytime, as much as I like to bash things, if I'm sitting down watching television, it's like, all right, how bad is it really? It's television. It's fine. And we'll do that in between seasons. And that's really all the news I have. Chris, anything else you need to mention?
No.
This time, excellent. Well, that's all right because, like I said, we got a big, exciting. Actually, I love that picture. An exciting, action-backed episode here called the Crossroads of Destiny. I don't know what else to say. Let's get started.
Yeah. First of all, I really love the title of this chapter. This might be my favorite title of
It's pretty
anything.
powerful sounding. Like even if
Yeah.
you don't know what the episode's about, it just sounds important.
hmm Like if there was ever like if these were ever movies, I would call like it Avatar: Last Airbender. Oh, that's too long. I don't like that. Um, that's too.
No,
I don't like those really long titles.
that's too much. That's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
I am homeless.
um, anyway, love the title of this. Probably my favorite title to any chapter there is. So it starts off with Azula in performing Inception on Long Fei and the Dai Li. And she does like a masterful job here. She gets
Beautifully acted.
yeah, she gets Mei and Tai Li to have like a fairly natural conversation about them just like easily giving up to their Fire Nation, and they're with Princess Azula. And the Dai Li agents are looking in on them, and like you can tell that they think, "Oh, now we got the upper hand," which all this is really interesting because usually I feel like when there's conflict, right, you're as an audience member, you're supposed to be left in suspense of what's going to happen. But here, there's no suspense at all. It's like Azula is going to win this match, which which is so Azula. Like, even, we'll get to it, but even when she gets to the end there, she's like, I won this the second I stepped onto the board. I won this game the second I stepped onto the board.
And you kind of feel that right away. Yeah. But it's very
Yeah.
motivating. Like it's not defeating or demoralizing to us as an audience. It's very like, whoa, how's she coming out real strong with this? Especially when I watched it this time, I forgot that it was a ploy. Like when they were doing it in the Daily Herd, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then Azula
really?
said, well done, girls, or whatever it is she said. And it's like, oh, snap. Like I'd completely forgotten that it was set up. So yeah, it did what it was supposed to do, and it's very,
Yeah.
very engaging.
Yeah, and and so then they capture Azula, which is it's comical in hindsight. And then she like puts a fight. She's like, "You would never treat a Kyoshi warrior like this." And then he's like, "But you're not a Kyoshi warrior, are you, Princess Azula of the Fire Nation?"
It's really
Like,
corny.
God. Like in retrospect, Long Fei is just
He's
because Azula is so right. He was never a player. Like
he's not a good villain either in general. Like his fight, he does what he's supposed to do. Obviously, I've mentioned before, I hate him, and that's the
I
idea.
think what he represents
But
is important.
he I don't know, like you almost need more context of like how he got to where he is now being such a douchebag. Like who would have put him where he is now? Was it a big progression after it happened? You know, did he get to a place of power and then lose his marbles, or was he motivated from the beginning? I don't know. Not a big Long Feng fan, and he's real corny in this episode a couple of times, actually.
Yeah, which which was all that really interesting, right? So it's funny because Azula plays the part of a helpless princess for the most part.
Yeah. It's
Also, when you think princess, you don't think, oh, this is the second most powerful person in the Fire Nation. You think, oh, she's just a princess, probably doing something for her dad. Like, but like Long Fei is clearly underestimating Azula here. And you know they work together. Long Fei like temporarily gives power of the Dai Li to Azula. She does a
and
great job.
that line when the other Dai agent visits Long Feng. I apologize if I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but I love that when it's like it's somehow terrifying and I'm ruining it. What does he say?
Inspirational at the same time.
Yes, that's
Inspiring. I think he says.
yeah, and you're like I don't want to give her any positive compliments, but yeah, that's pretty spot on.
Like, and it's also, I feel like it's also like a reflection of Hitler in a sense. Like Azula's not.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Right,
I guess
but, like,
I mean
Hitler-
it's wildly accurate.
Yeah, like Hitler for terrible. You know, I won't even say for better for worse because there's only worse. He inspired people, right? With his sheer passion for hating other people. Azula inspired people with her fear and everything to do her bidding. Like they are working against their they're working against their own self-interest. But Azula inspires them so much that they will go along with it.
And against the leader that they claim they're still supporting, but
yes, yeah, exactly.
I think he says it's both inspirational and terrifying. I think is what he says.
Yeah,
but I could be. Yeah. It's hilarious. Just watch the episode either way, but not till we're done telling you about the episode.
Yeah. So then when so she breaks. She pretty much has control over the city at this point because she locks up the Earth King and Toph and Sokka, which is interesting because when Toph approaches them, because Sokka is like, "Oh, the coup is happening now," or the coup.
I call it a coup without the P, but
yes, I'm pretty sure the P isn't pronounced.
Yeah. We'll be saying coup from here on out. We have mutually agreed.
Yes, I don't like words that do that. Like Colonel, I hate it. Baloney, hate it. I'd call it Bologna, but
I do. I hate silent letters, and Demetri Martin has a tremendous skit about a bit about silent letters. Go check that out.
Sorry, now I'm thinking about that.
It is. It's a good. I don't know if you knew this. We're 90% Avatar and 10% comedy on this podcast. Yeah, actually, it's like It's like 85% Avatar, 5% comedy, 5% basketball, 5% random hobbies.
Yeah.
That's probably inaccurate.
Uh, um, yeah, which is interesting when when they're having a coup. Like Toph, I realized that Toph does not see everything all the time. She only sees everything when she wants to see, when she wants to use seismic sense.
Like
Because like she should be able to see,
it's an active reflex, not a passive thing.
yeah, like she should be able to see the Dai agents all over. You would think she would be able to see the Dai agents all around it, but Sokka is like grabbing her, it's like, oh, the coup's happening now. You would think with her ability, she would have sensed that, miles away. Although even now, I would think she would sense that 'cause she could see those ants.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
maybe she was
and
purposely trying to see the ants.
this is not the first time that the Dai has fooled her in a way that I think is not good or kind of stupid. But in my head, I sort
Yeah.
of chalk it up to like as other Earthbenders, they have ways of maybe being undetectable to other or something stupid like that. I don't know, but like she gets
Mm.
trapped with the hands like at the dinner party and stuff like that. I was like, oh come on, Toph would have seen that coming. Like that was
Yeah,
she's
and
gonna
also when
beat
she got
those
trapped
helpless hand
by
cheaters.
when she got trapped by the by whoever was trying to put her in the metal
The
box. Like you would
wrestling
thought, oh, she would have,
guys, the
yeah,
bad guys.
she would have saw the metal box. She would have saw the two guys there. Like how did they sneak up on her?
I think saying
So
that her
I would
seismic
think it's just
sense, yeah, it's like it's an active reflex
yeah,
instead of a passive one is like the only way to attribute some of those
yeah,
enemies' successes against her because we've seen Toph do other things that would contradict that. Like you shouldn't be able to do that to Toph,
mhm,
but whatever,
yeah.
it's fine.
That's fine. I don't want the character to be OP. I just
I kind of do.
have it.
If you got an OP character, it just well be a little blind girl because that's awesome.
True, true. If anyone should be OP, it's Toph or Aang.
That's yeah. Well, Aang would be yeah. That's kind of interesting in a like when you think about OP, I always think about just ultimate destruction and stuff, and so it would be kind of I think that'd be irony for Aang to be like powerfully OP in battle
Yeah, because Aang doesn't want to be.
as an airbender. Yeah, that's kind of fun to think
Yeah.
about. But we did just talk about how Toph would be like one to kill somebody like in cold blood in the last episode. So Toph, you're like my number 3 character in this whole series. Toph. Ooh, top favorite characters. We'll have to do that one at some point when it's all done. When it's all done, what
Oh
are top
yeah,
characters?
yeah. Specifically favorite, because I already did one on the top, on objectively who is the top female characters, and I'll eventually do one on male
And I would
and the
never want
guys too.
my opinions to disgrace your actual like foundationally sound works. I would just want to be like, I really like Toph and Iroh. Like that's all I'm looking for here.
Well, we should do favorite characters
Yeah, I
sometime.
think good.
Um,
That'll be end of series fodder.
yeah, that's a good time to do it. Um, so yeah, so they have uh, the the coup, and and Azula has now control over Ba Sing Se, and Long Fei is like, now this is where I double cross you. And like their original deal, which is interesting, their original
So
deal was like
corny.
he'll this the original deal is that he gives her the Avatar, which is interesting. Like, why would he even go back on that? Which maybe he thinks like, well, the Avatar is good to have around. I don't want him in Ba Sing
You don't want
Se,
him
but
dead. Yeah, like
yeah, like I don't because if he doesn't defeat the Fire Nation will be on our doorstep. So let them two fight it out. So maybe that's what's going through his head.
I would say all those
Um,
reasons seem applicable. Yeah, he's not
yeah,
anti-Avatar. Just what do you call
yeah,
it?
just get out my city.
Isolationist from Avatar or something.
Yeah. Um, so then, and this is one of the most boss moments of Azula has had. She's had a lot of boss moments. This is her season, like really, like from the first
Really
get
is.
go.
Yeah.
Uh, her a monologue here is really interesting because she sizes him up so well. Of like, um, I've seen you type your type for before, like. You've crawled from the bottom of power, real power. You're born with it, um, and then the real power, the right to rule, um, and she feels like she has that. Which, funny enough, you would think that she doesn't have it because her father Ozai wasn't born to rule. Iroh is the rightful heir to rule.
And then in theory,
Which,
uh,
yeah, and then she wouldn't be. I mean, sure, she comes from that blood of being,
but
of
we're kind
being.
of 2 steps removed from being the rightful heir to the throne, so it's still kind of funny. But
I mean, she would be if Iroh was the Fire Lord as he should be. Ozai, I think, would be the next in line. Then Zuko,
and
then
then
her.
yeah, so she is the 3rd step removed from the rightful heir.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny to think about. But I guess
yeah,
she's still in the line, and maybe that's all that's important
yeah.
here.
She's still in the line, and that might be all that's important. That those people have a right to rule. So yeah.
Azula, fact check yourself,
No.
honey.
And then she's like, in your daily agents, they're waiting to see who's going to be sitting in this chair, and they don't know yet, but I know, and you know, like that. Her line to him, she defeats him without throwing a single punch, and she just sits in the chair like so boss like. She isn't like, all right, now let's fight and see who's in the chair. She's like, I'm sitting in the chair. The chair is mine, and you can't do anything about it. And then pretty much is like, you defeated me at my own game. Don't fool yourself. You were never a player. Like he
They
was never a player.
I complain about Azula's dialogue in other places, and this one's still like it's pretty over the top for a villain, but like relative to another villain that I like way less and who is way cornier, uh, this dialogue is generally just very clever. So I'll let her have a pass for this one. I know we have slightly different feelings on Azula, but at least here it's I don't know. It seems very clever, and it's next to Long Feng, who I hate, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So now Azula is running Bossing Say. She then gets uh, she she gets Zuko and Iroh to serve tea, and then how how does Zuko feel about like incorporating himself into Bossing Say, feeling like, oh, I turned my life around. Uncle's here, we're serving tea and everything. Everything is going great, and then he thinks, he's imagining the Earth King, and then he sees Azula. Like, what a complete slap in the face that must have been for him. And then, of course, the the fight of that little area of like Iroh does a quick thing like, "Oh, have I ever told you how I got the name the Dragon of the West?"
Yeah,
Just
that's a
like, I'm
lot of
not.
fun.
Yeah, I don't have time for a silly anecdote, Uncle. It's not an anecdote, more of a demonstration, really. And it's funny how Zuko gives him the eye. Like Zuko knows why he's called the Dragon of the West, and then just the fire breathing was so cool.
It is great.
Although he's not,
We'll go back to it.
yeah. Although there's a little bit of thing here, like Iroh's not necessarily called the Dragon of the West because he can breathe fires because he got the title of the dragon, which is weird that they like. I feel like it's a slight retcon.
It's just for
Although,
showman. He's just doing that for showmanship, Chris. That's all. He just
yeah, yeah, okay, I'm okay. That's fine.
right.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
like I don't know. He just
No, like I'm. That's probably what it is. Because I mean, they planned out most of this stuff. They would have been like, they, yeah.
he
Also, I wouldn't take it back to ruin this moment because I love this moment.
yeah. Well, and I just like I not that I have any impressive powers whatsoever, but I can see myself doing the same thing. Like you're just trying to hook her attention just for half a second, like just with whatever
Yeah,
you got to say, and that worked in that moment. I'm okay with that. For the same reason, I
yeah,
love the moment. I don't want to bash it for any logical or illogical reasons.
yeah. So she ends up. Zuko challenges her to an Agni Kai, which is really interesting. Because
Iroh
she's like, what?
escapes and has an opportunity for Zuko to escape, but Zuko says, "No, I'm tired of running. I'm gonna hang out
Yeah.
here and fight."
Yes. Yes. And she's like, "What are you gonna do? Challenge me to an Agni Kai?" Yes, I challenge you to an Agni Kai, which I find funny because Zuko's like really formal about it, like as if tradition demands that she says, "Okay, fine," but she's like, "No," and then she just has the Daily agents deal with him. It's so good to be like, "You're so much little more, smaller than me that I'm not even going to recognize you challenging me to an Agni
It
Kai."
is hardcore disrespect, yeah.
And also, he gets taken out so quickly by the Daily agents.
Man, I want like an emotional thing, like he's caught off guard, like I'm all prepped to fight Azula. Oh, but not these stylish agents. But
Yeah.
it's a little off-putting, but not serious. It's okay.
Yeah. Then he is dumped into prison, and this is like the moment all Zutara shippers cling on to is
Hi, Jamie.
it's Katara, him talking about, which I actually love. I actually really like the moment of Katara being like, you know, hatred and war runs in your family. You know, the Fire Nation took away
I
my
love
mother
the
from
moment.
me.
I'm just shaking my head at the Zutara shipping. The
Yeah.
moment is it's a very powerful scene. I love it.
Although I do think Katara cried too much in this scene. Like the 2 tears was fine, but then like animation wise, you see the driplets of tears, which makes it seem like she was just profusely crying at this. And to me, profusely crying situation didn't call for that.
Or that you
Like her
wouldn't
just
allow yourself to
explaining.
go there if you
Granted,
were Katara in that instance.
yeah. And granted, I can't speak from a person who's lost their mother and stuff like that. But I mean, she's talking to her enemy about this, and she's profusely crying about losing a mother. I mean, maybe it's fine. I didn't mind the crying aspect of it. That's fine. It was just a lot of tears. But I sound unsympathetic.
Chris, you jerk. No, I would feel the same way, but I'd say you don't even have to level as like a person who has or hasn't lost a mother or a loved one like that. Like, so probably TMI, but my wife lost her mother very young to cancer, but she's also like, she is emotional. She expresses emotion freely, but she does not cry ever. So it's like different people deal with that stuff just 100% differently. There's no correlation whatsoever. I don't even know. I see my wife cry like, okay, maybe never. Hell, I don't know.
Oh, she's in the perfect business.
She is in an unemotional, or she's the right kind of emotional for her business. Yes. Don't visit her at work ever. But anyways, that is astute detail because I never would have noticed anything. Like I'm just busy feeling bad for both of them right then to even like notice that she's crying too much.
And then Zuko says like, "Oh, that's the thing we have in common." And the Fire Nation took his mom too. And then Katara apologizes, and then she's like, "Well, I'm sorry. Just for so long, when I imagined the face of the enemy, it was your face." And Zuko took it completely the wrong way, but rightfully so. I mean, he thinks a lot about his face. She's like, "Oh no, not the scar." It's like the scar. I always thought of it as a mark of a banished prince, but now I see that I can form my own destiny. Which I get where you're about to be annoyed at.
He's there. He
then,
gets it, Chris. He gets it. Whatever. It's fine.
It's so funny though. And then she's like, "Oh, I've been saving this. I can heal you. I have healing water." She's like, "It's a scar." She's like, "Well, I have this special healing water I've been saving for a special occasion." Apparently, that special occasion isn't Jet dying, but
even Katara didn't like Jet. I win.
choose between saving a person's.
Like he is a human that helped him or whatever. And now she's about to use it on Zuko, who they do a nice job of like, when they're interacting, there's still like tons and tons of tension, and it's felt and it's obvious. Yeah. It's like a mutual respect that they only share because they're in prison due to the same person. And they do a good job of displaying that. Like, they're not buddies in there. She's just like a shared vengeance at the moment, at best.
And this is the moment, and her touching his cheek, his burnt scar, is the moment every Tar fan can.
Yeah, that's
can
what
sleep peacefully. Can sleep peacefully at night with. Think about. And then, boom, Aang comes in.
little home wrecker for all those Zutara shippers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I can't wait. When it comes to the Jet thing,
I do. Jamie again after this episode goes out.
when it comes to the Jet thing, I do think she could see that Jet was too far along gone, that the spirit water wouldn't have done anything. Um, but
Which is
so
funny then that
then
she offered to use it at all, though, you know? But
yeah.
that spirit water thing becomes such a nice touch later in the episode, of course. So really, really cool
Mhm.
full circle here.
Uh, yeah. Toph in the background. Toph breaks out of prison. She shows her metal bending, which that's just really cool. And
She isn't
then
just metal bend a little bit either. Like she's already mastered
yeah,
it. She blows the door off its hinges.
yeah,
Like
she
you
does
figure,
do that.
you just sort of picture her learning, like learning something slowly. Like no, first she killed those guys in that tin can that that they had her locked in, and now she just like blasts the door off, and it even scares me just for a second. Like I know it's coming, and it's still just oh, she really just no subtlety whatsoever. So good job, Toph. Way to pick it up quick.
Yeah. And then they go back and rescue Bosco and the Earth King. I love how she first takes out Ty Lee, which looks uncomfortable the way she takes her out. She just earth bends while Ty Lee is like trying to teach the bear how to do a head, how to walk on its hands, which sounds like a weird statement. Um, Ty Lee gets earth bended, but like backwards, which that looks uncomfortable, but she could probably handle it. Um, and then May is just like, just take the
Just
bear,
take the
and she
bear.
so doesn't.
It's a really good line though.
Yeah. Um, and then there is, Zuko, Iroh tells Zuko like it's time to choose good, Zuko. Um, and then right at that moment, Azula captures uh, Uncle, and she talks to this is her final play at Zuko, but she's so manipulative. She played this so well. Like she could have easily taken out Zuko, like so easily, but instead she's like, you know what? I can maybe use him in the future. I gotta have an ace in the hole here, because she would have lost if she just went up against Aang and Katara. Um,
I guess I still I do feel like that her it was almost too much foresight. Like I know she's been clever and strategic or whatever, but it was almost like too much foresight or too convenient for her to just let him live. Like in my head, I feel like Azula in reality would have just taken him out at that point. It just incapacitated him. And then I'm also upset at his decision as well. So there's like accumulation of things here that make me mad. But mad in a good way. Mad and like I'm engaged in what's happening.
yeah. Um, so then they're all fighting. It's Azula versus Aang versus Katara, and they're kind of in this what they call a Mexican standoff. Not really though, because Mexican style standoff I think would be like one. It's one versus one versus one. When here it's like two versus one. And Zuko firebends, and you still don't know who he firebend at. And then I love how Aang can see that Zuko's turning before Zuko firebends at him, because he sort of turns a certain way that makes him, you can see that he anticipated that.
His eyes
Um,
widen a little bit, I think. Like it's
yes,
noted.
yeah, something like that. Which, so as a person who watched the show when it premiered, if you think you're mad, I don't know what to say, it pissed me off, but I was visibly
It
distraught
pisses me
for
off.
a while. And then, like, I think for 3 straight weeks, I was just mad at Zuko, a fictional character. Like, I was really mad. I was like, you had it right there. Everything you did was building up to you choosing good at that moment. What the heck was the metamorphosis for? Like, you've been building to this. Um,
And that's
so yeah,
funny.
so I was 3 weeks of being mad.
Is this a good time to talk about it? Because I would like to.
This is the time. Zuko betrays Iroh. This is the time. Yeah.
The roller coaster is so extreme that in my head, there's probably people out. Not probably. There's definitely people out there that like that and defend that. But it feels very unnatural to like he's had progression and then some bumps in the road or whatever. But now we've the metamorphosis and immediately following feels like this wild progression of him at his lowest lows and then his highest highs, and it's so extreme and insane that I think it starts to feel less less relatable or less real, like less like hiccups that a normal person or a normal character would have in their story arc. So if you like that kind of thing, then you defend it as that's what makes his especially unique or especially powerful. I tend to veer still more towards like it almost seems like a plot convenience, not a plot hole, but a convenience of like, no, we really need Zuko to be bad just for like at least 1 or 2 more episodes. We need him to be like strictly bad. How do we make this happen? It's like you said, or like I complained earlier. He had it figured out. He understood the message, and he said it in a way that made us all feel the belief that he got it, that he understood destiny. And then he changes his mind for some crap Azula said, this person that he's never liked or trusted ever, and now you decide to take her over Iroh? Come on. Alright, I'm done.
It's funny because Aaron Haas wrote something on Twitter one time about Avatar fans, and then I wrote underneath like, "Oh yeah, I remember being mad for 3 weeks after what Zuko did at the Crossroads of Destiny," and then he wrote underneath that, "Yeah, we remember all the backlash we had for that." And they bring it up all the time, like in a commentary for Legend of Korra, like when Korra does something that fans don't like the writers, or Mike and Brian were like, yeah, we want characters to feel in the sense that they can, you have setbacks. People have setbacks all the time. If you're recovering from something like alcohol, I don't know if they say alcohol because they're doing the commentary for a kids show, but like you may have setbacks and stuff. Like you get that little bit of a tease, and Azula gives him that little bit of a tease that he can get exactly what he wants. And also, after watching it, the whole series through, I was completely fine with it because I do think Zuko had to live that life of what he could have, and that like, oh crap, I have my father's love, and this is not what I needed or wanted at all. Like my father is a terrible person. Like I can't be that person. So while I was like really mad at it for like 3 weeks, also because at this point in time, like we mentioned before, I didn't have a real sense of season finales, and so they leave you on this cliffhanger, and then I'm thinking like, oh, next week I get to see what happens to Zuko. Oh,
you
no,
don't get to see what
okay,
happens to Zuko.
yeah. And then after like 4 weeks, I finally get like, oh, this is what it's. It's funny because that was like my freshman year of college, because also there was a Smallville season finale, and I think one of the commercials for Smallville said season finale tonight, and then it all clicked for me, like, oh, there are seasons to TV shows, and they
Not
all
just
have like a
football. This is
finale.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can get on board with the idea that I really like how you just described it. He had to see that life, and I think we as fans, it's very gratifying for us to see him feel that life and then have it not be what he expects. And then I even like his sort of next steps of actions that he takes. Again, those feel like sort of relatable setbacks. But here we go through this weird metamorphosis, and the part where it really feels like the creators try to sell us that it's in the past, and even to the extent like he gets thrown. It almost just feels like all that should have come like after this or something. I don't know. It just something in there feels too extreme.
I completely get where you're coming from here, and agree with you that I think they did set it up purposely, story wise, to they like to do misdirections a lot apparently, which I've realized a lot in this season. They do a lot of misdirections.
That's fair, yeah.
Like they set it up. They pushed Zuko so far to a point where like, okay, he's good. He had the metamorphosis, and then when the metamorphosis, like the term metamorphosis feels like something concrete. Like after you go through it, you are that person forever,
it's
right?
Something so powerful that it's been banned from Yu-Gi-Oh play. It's finite. It literally is a physical change, or like an irreversible thing, and they keep
like he went through a physical thing. Like imagine a caterpillar getting into a cocoon, turn to a butterfly, the butterfly can't turn back into a caterpillar. Like you're that's what you are.
And they try
And so
so
when
hard
Zuko,
to beat that into us for 2 full episodes of Chipper
yeah,
Zuko.
yeah, which was way too chipper. It was
Way
way too
too
chipper
chip,
for
and
me.
that makes it again. That's probably the part that's
Yeah,
like the giveaway that something bad's still gonna happen. But it also just is like a more extreme flip flop. Like we should know, like no Zuko's ever gonna end that Chipper. Like that's not how he's gonna come out. Something bad's still gonna happen. But it's such an extreme break. It's hard to
yeah,
palate, especially kids or like younger me or even me today. Obviously, I watch TV like a 10-year-old, so it's probably appropriate. But it's a lot to take. Jamie, tell us what you think on Google. We'd love to hear it.
um, so then, dang it, I have some S answer there. But yeah, I agree.
I
I think
probably interrupted. I'm
if I was
sorry.
to, no, you're fine. If I was to change it, I would probably just take out things. I like the metamorphosis, right? Because I like the idea of him having all those visions and stuff. I wouldn't call it a metamorphosis, but more of a journey, I guess.
Right. Let's
A
think of a
journey doesn't feel as
better.
finite.
Yeah. Or just
Like when you,
just internal turmoil or whatever.
yeah. Um, but definitely wouldn't have the Tripper Zuko there because Tripper Zuko and the Zuko that talks to uh, Katara in the crystal catacombs, or not catacomb, anyway, in the crystal caves. It's like, oh, I see now that I can have my own destiny, and then that's completely flipped on his head when he gives in to Azula's temptation.
I've got it. I've got it. It's brilliant. It's perfect. It's really not perfect, but it feels perfect. What he needs is like I still wouldn't call it a metamorphosis, but some kind of extended period of inner turmoil or whatever, where like Iroh notices that he's changing, he is metamorphosing, whatever you want to call it, but sort of a parallel there of he's so close to turning into this good person, and then in this episode, Iroh would be like, if you do this now, you won't be able to recover, or you won't be able to master being a good person, or something like better wording. But to parallel the Aang mastering his chakras thing,
I thought that, yeah,
or the
yeah.
Empire Strikes Back thing, yeah. But he would have just had to been
No,
like ill, like apathetic Zuko for a couple episodes, like gray area Zuko, not super chipper weird Zuko.
yeah. Oh, I like that.
Let's toss that at the creators. That insane, probably terrible idea that I just crafted to make myself feel better about it. But it doesn't defeat the end game. And again, thank you for describing it the way you did, because I hadn't really thought about that. Is that we need to see Zuko on that side to really kind of complete his arc in a satisfying way, and it is.
Yeah.
It does help extremely in the early going next season.
Yes. Yeah. They get into a fight, which is a really good fight.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I love how like what was it, Katara versus Zuko? Katara versus it's first Katara versus Azula. And Katara gets the upper hand on her. Like she's come a long
We're seeing
way in
peak
her
Katara,
waterbending.
yeah.
Yeah, like she is winning this fight, and it's really cool. Like she's just using those really long thing. She's about to like freaking squash, like smash her over until Zuko like comes in,
You
like
feel the
fire bends
inherent
water just in
advantage.
time.
You like
Yeah,
find you feel like that inherent advantage of water over fire in a sense, like not that Azula's
yeah,
helpless, but
yeah,
you feel like Katara notably has an upper hand in a
yeah.
way
It's
that would
funny
not
because
be overcome naturally.
yeah, and I think Zuko's just his erratic firebending is like that style because he at this point he's weird. I've never seen firebending like this. Like the way he's firebending, like like it's very firebending is, and Azula's far more controlled. And I think Katara could take advantage of that a little easier.
You ever want to do
Um,
something that you know is
but
probably not a great idea, so you convince yourself to do it real fast before you think about how bad of an idea it is? That's what Zuko's firebending is right now. It's like
oh
get it
yeah,
out before my
yeah, yeah.
conscience kicks in and realizes it's stupid.
Mm.
That's why he's acting all crazy.
Yeah, and then Hank's not really doing a great job in this fight, I think.
Yeah.
Like he's getting beat by Zuko, he's getting kind of beat by Zula. Um, Also, he's not like he does his one move, which in a commentary they did a really good job on this commentary. I think he's like on top of this like I don't know what you call it, in a cave. Anyway, he earthbends it around and then flips it and then takes it down and like smashes on the ground onto Zuko. But you can tell that he took more out of himself in that when he hit the ground than Zuko hit because Zuko got up fairly quickly relative to how Aang got up, and so like Aang just didn't feel like 100%. And like,
Right. Chalk it
I
up
don't know. I feel
to
like I've
not
just seen him.
chalk it up. Chalk it up to maybe not finishing his chakra exercise, like being in a weird place
Yeah,
or state emotionally. Maybe I'm just making up
yeah,
excuses for him.
yeah. Um, and then eventually the Dai Li agents show up. He did something like he was about to take over the fight because he got into the earth. He did the whole like rolling the whole earth towards him. It was a very heroic moment there. You felt like, all right, Aang's about to win this fight, and then Dai Li agents come out of nowhere and just take him right off. And then they surround Katara. And I love how Katara's like, oh crap, I gotta grab this water real quick. And I love the way she's just water bending, like she's ready to take out anybody that comes near her. Also, she's like really ragged. Her hair loopies come out and stuff. It just really raised the stakes of this moment. And then everything looks dire. Like you got Azula, you got Zuko, all ready to attack. You got Aang just in the middle there, and then Aang finally, um, he says sorry, Katara. He makes a nice little area so he can meditate in, clears his last chakra. And I love that moment of seeing the big Aang's physical avatar state and him reaching out there. And then he goes into the avatar state, which is interesting because he looks like he's flying in this moment, which I think he is flying. I have a whole video about that. um, a whole video about can the avatar fly or not. I think it has to do with the cosmic energy that the avatar state gives to a bender, not a bender gives to the avatar, um, and how like also it could be like Rava because Rava can fly, right? Rava is fused with law and spirit, and we've seen when spirits are fused with a human, spirit, the humans can start to take characteristics of that spirit. If Rava can fly, then maybe Avatar fly. But which then I have a whole another theory that Korra, by the end of the series, can become like the most powerful Avatar there ever is because Rava is the most powerful she's ever been because Vachi has been completely destroyed. And so Rava will be the most because their power is like yin and yang. It's like a seesaw. It's only like so much, but when one is down, the other is high. Vatu being way down, um, Rava's being way high. So then Korra could tap into all of that energy that and chi that Rava has, and could probably go even bigger than Vatu went when he turned and transformed into Unavatu. But got off on that tangent somehow.
I don't know, but it's funny that we've referenced Smallville in this, and now we're talking about theories about various characters being able to fly. That may not be funny. Maybe it's just really late, but it's funny to me.
He also never flew in that show until the
Till
final
the
10
end.
seconds of the show.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
it's funny, right? Oh,
Oh,
that's why.
okay.
That's why
Okay.
I thought it was funny.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know
yeah,
if it's
he,
final since I know it was the end, right? Because that was
yeah.
a big hullabaloo with the fans is
Yep.
like waiting
Oh, he's
years
coming
to see
back.
him fly or
So,
whatever.
I'm pretty sure you don't watch the CW shows, but most of them are really good. Um, but so they have these big crossover events every year, and this year is going to be like the biggest crossover event there is. Like, I'm more excited for this than anything I have been superhero wise since The Dark Knight Rises. Like Tom Welling. So they're having this thing called Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think I've talked to you about like Crisis before, how there's multiple Earths and stuff,
It sounds extremely
and
familiar.
like there's the same superhero but slightly different on all these different Earths, and like Crisis was like smashing them all together. Um, Although in this, and I also told you about this other movie called Crisis on Two Earths. That's different, but similar. There's different people, but the same person on different Earths. But anyway, they're bringing back like all these different Supermen. Brandon Routh is coming back as Superman, who played him in Superman Returns. Tom Welling is coming back as Superman, and there's already Superman in the CW universe. So I'm looking forward to that crossover. It should be really amazing. Quality wise, I'm not sure how amazing it's going to be,
I mean,
but just
surely just
fanboy
like
wise,
surely just high end TV show caliber, like all their stuff tends to be, right? Because I mean, you mentioned I don't watch CW shows. I would preface like
some stuff
it's
is
not because I don't like
really,
them. I just
yeah.
don't watch a ton of TV, but seems to be
Arrow
relatively good
seasons,
quality, right?
pretty much Arrow seasons 3 through or 4 through. Arrow has like 4 seasons that are terrible out of the like 8. Other than
50-50.
that, other than that, everything else is pretty good or great, really.
Like the production value, especially, is always good, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
be excited.
yeah. It's not
It'll be
cheap.
it'll be exciting.
uh, okay, so Aang flying in the sky. Well, it's not really the sky. He's floating in the air. Um, and Azula shoots him down with lightning. And they do say that even though Aang went to the Avatar state willingly, he didn't master the Avatar state. Because when you master the Avatar state and you go into it, you just take whatever energy you need, right? And your eyes glow, and then your eyes stop glowing, and then you use that energy. But here, Aang wasn't. He didn't have mastery over the Avatar state, so he was stuck in the Avatar state when he was got out. Usually, go in Avatar state, and then it kind of leaves you immediately. But because he was stuck in that, he opened himself up to being killed in the Avatar state.
Is it so? Just clarify for me, if you will, or if you're able. Is it fair to say that he does literally die, but then he is saved by Katara's water?
I am of the belief that he does not die. This is contention in
Okay,
fans,
so
right?
it
We
is
got
not
one.
set or addressed in commentary to
I
this point.
Okay, so I think it is canon that he does not die, and I get that canon from this book here that I'm going to reference again. Actually, I don't know why I got it. I didn't need to get it. I
You've read
know
a
what I'm going
lot.
to
You've
say.
read a lot of things today.
Um, yeah.
Pulling out the references.
Okay. Actually, that's funny. I turned to the exact right page I needed.
You've referenced
So,
it before. That page is like loose,
yeah. So this is Avatar Legacy. It is a book by Aang written to Tenzin about his adventures. And like there's a page with all the members of Team Avatar, and Aang writes about them to Tenzin. And he asks him about Katara, which is Aang's wife. So in it, um, he talks about Katara. He says when in it, he says, when I was badly injured by lightning in a battle, it was Katara who healed me and saved my life. So I take that as he was injured and he was about to die.
I accept your perspective, but I do not accept that makes it fact, as he wouldn't have necessarily known that he was dead or anything of that sort.
But the other part that supports this is that if he died in the Avatar state, as we know, the Avatar spirit Rava would have been killed, and that would have restarted the life cycles.
Is that instantaneous, and or is Rava perhaps some amount of omniscient and able to see that he was going to be resurrected?
No, Rava really does nothing, honestly, besides give a power boost.
Just a freeloader.
And I mean, really, Rava's main thing that she accomplishes is that she keeps the link to all the past lives. All right. These past lives were going to happen anyway. Juan will be reincarnated anyway, but she links them all together and she links their like memories all together. Um, but she doesn't like do anything beyond that. And also they tap into her chi and her energy and her cosmic energy and everything like that. So yeah, so Rava isn't that proactive in anything really.
She's like a good picture book at best. Just a bunch of
Now,
memories.
because I'm very fair, people argue that well, it was spirit water, and because of that, um, Aang died, and the Avatar rock spirit Rava died, but because of spirit water, um, they saved Rava. But to me, that doesn't explain how they saved Rava's past lives, the memory of those past lives. So to
Uh,
me, Aang
I mean,
would
if it's the
never.
same Rava that you've just saved, if Aang can preserve his memories after being resurrected, I suppose Rava could too. I mean,
Well, that's like brain memories, right? That's like a. I don't
I
know.
suppose it
But
depends
to me, there's.
on if you view memories, even in Rava's case, as like a part of your physical being or as part of some different essence. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well,
It's pretty much inconsequential in the end, but it's fun to consider.
it is. But to me, if he was actually killed, like Roku says, if you're killed in the Avatar state, your past lives will cease to exist, and he would have been, completely killed. He would have no past lives. Even if Rava came back, it would have just been like how Korra is, because in that Rava was killed, um, and Korra now refused with her, but there's no past lives.
Me, Chris, just doubting the power of the spirit water that is kind of ambiguous. No, that's a very fair point, and I don't have much of a perspective. I tend to
It's
imply that he's dead,
whatever.
but I have never really thought too hard about it. Uh, I
Well, to me, there's more evidence backing up that he didn't die than did.
That's fair.
Like I gotta assume. To me, you gotta make like a lot of assumptions to say that he lived. I mean, to say that he died. And when it comes to this, I don't have to make any assumptions. I can just base it off of the lore that Roku says and the book that Aang says he was injured. Um, but
The better half of the evidence is on the
yeah.
side of the not dying. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, feel free to believe whatever you want to believe.
That sounded really deep. We're just talking about in the show. Outside of the show, you're not allowed to believe whatever you want. Calm down. No, we're just kidding. It's a metaphor. Believe whatever you want to believe, wherever you want. Hey,
Uh,
so Aang falls to the ground, and it's super dramatic and sketch and horrifying.
yes.
And
And I love how Katara catches him. Like Katara's like way off, right? And she does this like turn thing, as if she's just like torquing her body. Not torquing. That sounds like Katara torquing. I mean torquing. I
not
do mean
torquing. T O
torquing.
U R Q U I N
Yes,
G. Torquing.
Katara was not torquing to
She
to
would never.
no God, um, to like build up that water, and she water bent fast enough to catch Aang right as he was going to land on the ground. So cool. I think it's so cool to see, such female empowerment here. Like she is saving the day here, with her. You don't see that often. You don't see the female character with her sheer force of will saving the male character. I think you don't see that often.
Like we've seen her do cool things before, but like here it's one of those like she's the best player on the court right now.
Yeah. And then Iroh jumps in, and I love how Iroh just like taking, hitting everybody, getting hit with things, but he's like so built that he's just getting hit, but he's still firebending. And then how he knows when he needs to stop fighting, and he just like calmly stops, and they earthbend him, and he can't even look at Zuko.
I can't even
So
look at Zuko, that little monster.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
And then Azula sitting on the throne of Ba Sing Se with Zuko to her left, and I guess. And Zuko's like, what if father doesn't restore my honor? And I like how Azula like keeps kind of digging, or she keeps reassuring him like, "Today you restored your own
Kind
honor."
of
Like,
cleverly hooking, right? It's
yeah,
very, very on point, I guess.
yeah. And then they hop on Appa, and Katara heals Aang. Um, but it's not like a he heals and yay, Aang is fine. It's like okay, you saved me, and
And there's intense moments like it's pretty deliberate or delayed, I guess, between the healing and the actual hearing a breath or whatever.
hmm and he pretty much passes right back out.
It's really tense, yeah.
Yeah.
Very tense.
Yeah. So Aang's not dead, but this was a great cliffhanger of a season. I think
Uh,
really put everything into a dire situation.
I'm really glad that we didn't have to think that he was dead in between seasons. That would have been maybe too much.
Mhm.
I mean, it still like would
Yeah.
have worked, but just too dramatic for my taste. This is much more my speed for what this show. I don't know what I want out of this show or what I would have wanted out of this show. Just still have hope.
Mhm.
And that's it. That's Crossroads of Destiny. That's book 2, arguably by some the best book. We'll discuss them. That'll be a fun discussion at
Yeah.
the end too. Picking best
Although
favorite characters,
although
best books.
we'll be able to definitively say which is the best book. We can add up just the scores.
Average scores. Oh, I like
Yeah.
that. It'll
Although
be hampered. Every book will be hampered by like one or two of Shawn's outrageously low scores.
well then
Throwing
just
shade.
just so I can win an argument that I don't care which side it comes out on, I'll just lowball one of them.
Chris's scores on
All
the
right,
beach
so,
are 0,
so
0, and 0.
I was being more dramatic. So this is comment part 4, 2 out of 10.
And you're like, I was sad it was over, so I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's the best I can come up with. Hey, that'll be it. Oh man, in between series, it's gonna be a lot of fun stuff to do. But in the meantime, we have to do things like watch the beach. Okay, whatever. Let's get on to some ratings onto this episode.
Oh yeah, kind of forgot all about ratings.
They're good. They're good ratings.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Audiovisual 9.5. Great fight. With them, really great fight. I think that really does most of the great audiovisual there. Story a 9. I think it, and this is really great story in the grand scheme of things. Just really great, just storytelling of this big huge tale that it's very Star Wars esque, as we said before. And just like Star Wars, like Empire Strikes Back, it's that middle one there, and it ends on the dour note, right? It ends not in a happy way. Han is frozen. Luke just found out his dad is Darth Vader. It's not a happy ending like the first one was, like A New Hope was. And here it's much the same. Like season 1 ended with like, yeah, beat the Fire Nation, we saved the Water Tribe. But in season 2, it's like, oh crap, we lost, and we lost Ba Sing Se, the biggest city in the world.
Didn't we also say when they were looking for Toph and they ended up in the swamp? Did we also make some Yoda comparisons there?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, I do think that they did say that one was more coincidental than anything.
Okay.
But
in general,
I do
it's a
think
great
these
comparison of the first 2 seasons to the first 2 Star Wars movies. I will not call Star Wars A New Hope. That's wrong and silly. But to Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. Great comparison.
Yeah. So then, memorable. It's a 8.5. Which I like. Oh, like I guess I only really need to watch the last 5 minutes of this episode. Um, it's really good. It's just, it's not one of my favorite, most memorable episodes, but still great. 8.5. So 9.2.
I pretty much agree entirely. Audiovisual 9. It's a little bit slow in the build up of audiovisual. Again, we're talking that last 5 minutes or so. Story, I absolutely love all the different pieces that this one connects and what it sets up. It's great. And as we mentioned in the stream of the past several episodes that have been very strongly tied together, this is a really, really great finale for that string of episodes. Memorable. I do agree with what you said in the scheme of like other finales. It maybe isn't. I don't know. The very end is so big and so impactful of seeing Aang like that. But the whole episode overall may not be the most memorable episode in the world. But whatever, it's still a 9, 8.5. It's a really memorable episode. That gives it a 9.2, which for the second time in as many weeks.
Yeah.
If you're good at math, what I like is that our ratings were different step by step, but it still averaged out nice. That's kind of cool. 9.2. That's a great episode right there.
That's such a threatening image of Azula.
I like the king looks kind of clueless though. Like what's she got on her finger there, man?
Where's she come from?
Who this? I thought she was an earthbender, but
yeah. Are you the Avatar? Oh no, he's already met the Avatar. Never mind.
Oh, that is too bad. And the Avatar that he wouldn't have met if Longfang wasn't an idiot didn't even have to say that. God, whatever.
Pretty much, he did.
Longfang, you deserve it. Great season, tremendous. I would say top to bottom. Well, your Star Wars description actually wrapped it up really nice. That was very well done. I'll say this season raises the stakes so much more than the first season does. You really get a big picture view in this season that you don't get from the first. So it doesn't have to be better or worse. Just this one raises the stakes to everything. And I like that a lot. And this episode's a great way to cap it off. I'm also excited for our in-between season banter, but I'll have you know that I've also already watched about half of season 3 again for the watch through. And while I know we'll have some discussions on quality differences, knowing now what I'm working up to, it's really hard to stop watching season 3. Like it's to a point where you just want to binge, not to get it over with, but you just want that whole gratification at one time.
Oh, since we started this podcast, I've watched this series like at least twice.
I pretty much keep it close to in tune with what we're doing, so I can keep some sort of freshness to it. Usually, 3-4 episodes at a time, and then we'll do 2 or 3 podcasts in that vicinity. But this time I went like way ahead. I think I'm halfway through the 3rd season just because I wanted to see, and I'm sure the next time I put a disc in, I'll watch till the end. Probably tomorrow, actually. Tomorrow will be a good day for that. Getting way ahead of myself. Chris, any final thoughts on season 2? Any other insightful Star Wars analogies? We've done comedy, basketball, Star Wars. We've really covered the gambit today. Gambit?
Oh, and I mentioned Batman too.
And Batman. That's kind of good. Check out his shirt, by the way. That's a good shirt, if I may say so myself.
Oh yeah, that's it's the Batman animated series, but with Avatar.
Yeah. And Aang looks inappropriately threatening for Aang, but I still dig it.
Yeah.
But any final thoughts on season 2?
It's a great season, really great season. The more I think about it, it might possibly the best season.
Up for debate. How would you though? I mean, how would you even pick a season out of the 3? I think I do feel bad for the first because like nobody's gonna pick the first season.
I think the first season is honestly the worst season of all of Avatar. Even the second season of Korra.
I don't remember Korra well enough to have an opinion, but that's simultaneously funny and maybe ironic just in the sense that it kicked off such a big franchise to us. But that'll be another good video topic in between Korra and the live action series. We'll do all the seasons. It'll be great. Be a big discussion party. But it is funny that like I don't think anybody would really pick the first season ever. But it kicked off this franchise that we consider our favorite, and it's the first. It was the original. It's what hooked us. Whatever. Not that good. Relatively, that's the keyword. That's all I got. Thanks for joining us, everybody, for book 2, Earth, Crossroads of Destiny, the finale. Keep your eyes open in coming weeks. We'll probably take a few weeks off of the episode by episode for some fun things. Hopefully they are interesting. I'm pretty excited about them. In the meantime, Chris, thanks for joining me for some extra recording this evening. good luck to those Lakers. Hopefully that score went in your favor and that they are 5-1 since the last time we brought this up. I mean, I don't really hope or care too much. I'm kind of an Eastern Conference sympathizer, but whatever. And everybody else, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. And next time on Avatar: The Last Podcasters.